Nursultan Nazarbayev announced a unilateral visa-free travel for citizens of 10 countries that have shown the highest investment activity in Kazakhstan. This list includes the United States, the Netherlands, the Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Malaysia, the UAE, Japan, and South Korea. A special law on amendments and additions to certain legislative acts of the Republic of Kazakhstan on improvement of investment climate was drafted, which entered into force in the summer of 2014. Amendments to the law provided foreign and domestic investors with significant tax preferences if they are willing to invest in certain sectors of the Kazakhstan's economy. Let's read about it in detail in the country's business publications. According to Forbes, Kazakhstan, the country is introducing visa-free regime for citizens of 10 countries only in pilot mode for now, starting from July 15, 2014 to July 15, 2015. According to the press service of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, during this period, the citizens of these 10 countries holding valid diplomatic, official, and national passports can repeatedly enter, exit, and fly through the territory of Kazakhstan without a visa for up to 15 calendar days from the moment of crossing the state border. In case there is a legitimate need for further stay for a foreign citizen from the above-mentioned countries on the territory of Kazakhstan for more than 15 days, then it will be necessary to receive in the manner prescribed by law the business category visa in the internal affairs agencies of Kazakhstan and the investor category in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan. In the long term, when expanding the list of visa-free countries, Kazakhstan will pay particular attention to the procedure and the degree of complexity in obtaining visas to each specific country and cancel the visa regime primarily for those countries that create favorable entry conditions for citizens of Kazakhstan. Establishment of the visa-free regime from July 15, 2014 to July 15, 2015 is a pilot version. According to the results of the project implementation, the government of Kazakhstan will decide whether to continue the project or to terminate it. The Capital KZ newspaper, along with Deloitte specialists' comments in the Caspian region, the latter carried out the analysis of innovations in Kazakhstan. The creation of an attractive investment climate has always been regarded as one of the main tools for relieving Kazakhstan from the economic crisis and for the development of efficient market economy. Over the past 20 years, Kazakhstan has been aiming at attracting foreign investors and creating a favorable environment for them. The scope of application of foreign investment is changing, but the policy of attracting foreign capital remains unchanged. Deloitte specialists believe that the proposed amendments are an additional incentive for the existing initiatives. Such approach ensures the movement of Kazakhstan to the competitive industry and economic diversification under the strategy of industrial and innovative development. Due to the recent volatility in the foreign exchange market and the sensitivity to changes in the oil market, Kazakhstan's economy needs further push to increase competitiveness, reduce raw material orientation, and dependence on exports. We also believe that by offering investment preferences, the government intends to create in Kazakhstan a more effective platform for working in the framework of the Eurasian Economic Union and thus achieve the so-called synergetic effect from the interaction of these two mechanisms. In addition, the amendments to the legislation may be due to the preparations for the Business Expo International Forum in 2017, which requires not only significant cost savings but also investment attraction. Japanese investors find Kazakhstan as most attractive in terms of investments. This statement was announced by the Minister of Investment and Development of Kazakhstan, Aset Tsikashov. Kazakhstan is the region's leader in terms of investment attractiveness for Japanese manufacturers who can produce their products here while further exporting it to neighboring markets. We are a member of the economic union with Russia and Belarus, but we are entering the World Trade Organization, the WTO. Therefore, I think it is also an important factor for the Japanese companies that Kazakhstan will be in this region. We believe that this is the best place for the Japanese investments, a hub for the Japanese investments where they can create production and move with the products from here to the markets of Russia, Central Asia, Western China, and the Middle East through Iran. The minister also noted that Kazakhstan is on the first place among the neighboring countries in almost all respects of the Business Conduction Simplicity rating. It was decided to create very liberal conditions in Kazakhstan for the import of highly skilled foreign labor that has traditionally been a sensitive issue for Japanese companies, Aset Tsikashov added. Japan is one of the top 10 countries for which Kazakhstan unilaterally introduced visa-free travels. Kazakhstan set a course on education in accordance with the international standards. In Almaty, a representative office of the oldest university in France, Sorbonne, Kazakhstan, was opened. Presidents of Kazakhstan and France took part in the opening ceremony of the institute, created on the basis of the Kazakh National Pedagogical University named after Abay. In our country, education is an absolute priority for development. Kazakhstan set course on approaching the best international standards. Our aim is to make it possible for our young people to learn in their own country all the knowledge and skills required to face the future. The fact that the world-renowned universities come to us shows that we have chosen the right path. The President of Kazakhstan also noted that without the involvement in the world educational space, Kazakhstan will not be able to build a new economy based on innovation and knowledge. Forbes Kazakhstan reported that Kazakhstan is planning to establish a joint production of satellites with France. This was announced by the Vice Minister of Investment and Development of Kazakhstan, Yerlan Sagadiev. In the near future, it is planned to produce space satellites, fuel for nuclear reactors, and solar panels. Despite the obvious successes, we should not slow down the fast pace in the economic sphere and pay special attention to the implementation of initiated bilateral projects. Sagadiev also added that in recent years, France has become one of the leading trade partners of Kazakhstan, ranked 5th overall. According to the results of the first 9 months in 2014, the turnover of commodities amounted to about $5 billion. Kazakhstan will fully perform its obligation to supply electricity to Kyrgyzstan. The head of the Samruk Energo company, Almasadam Satkaliyev, stated. According to him, the neighboring republic will be provided with two forms of supply: commercial supply of electricity from Zhambul hydroelectric power station in the amount of 1 billion kilowatts per hour, and the supply on the basis of reciprocity. Thus, under the first scenario, the Kazakh side has concluded the necessary gas supply contracts with Kaztransgas, and on the supply of the electricity to the Kyrgyz Republic's border with Kagok. Supply of the second electricity package will be executed on the basis of reciprocity. We are ready to supply 400 million kilowatt hours of electricity, which we will get in return during the growing season. With the electricity, the water will be available as well, which will provide irrigation in southern Kazakhstan. According to the Kagok system operator, the maximum load in Kazakhstan this year is expected to reach 13.5 thousand megawatts, while Kazakhstan has about 16,000 megawatts available for the electricity supply. With the exception for emergency cases, there shouldn't be faults and failures. Related to the lack of capacity, he concluded. And at the end, let's read the opinion of Minister of Energy of Kazakhstan, Vladimir Shkolnik. The journalist of Capital KZ managed to talk to him. The end of modernization of the country's oil refinery plants was postponed by 1 year. How will this affect the cost of modernization? Project deadlines have been shifted due to the adopted technical regulations of the EU. The terms of the technical regulations provide for producing fuel that meets the requirements of Euro 4 standard from January 1, 2016. At the same time, Russia and Belarus, in accordance with their internal technical regulations, planned the release of Euro 5 standard starting from January 1, 2014. As the minister explained, to ensure compliance of petroleum products with the standards of the EU technical regulations and to produce at the Kazakhstan's refineries motor fuel of Euro standard 4.5 in 2016, they began working on introduction of changes to the feasibility studies and design and estimate documentation of modernization projects for the country's refineries. This consequently led to changes in timing of the project. Upon completion of the refineries modernization project of the quality, the fuel produced by domestic manufacturers will meet the standards of Euro 4.5. After completing the modernization, as I have repeatedly mentioned, the production of gasoline in the country will fully meet domestic demand. Another news that pleased Kazakh citizens was that the fuel prices in the country will drop to 115 tenge per liter, as reported by Shkolnik in the Majlis. This is how he justified the actions of public bodies. In order to timely respond to the situations arising in the economy, it is proposed to approve the excise rates on petrol, except for aviation, diesel fuel by the government of Kazakhstan. This will provide an opportunity to reduce the cost of gasoline AI-92 from 128 tenge to 115 tenge and to reduce the diesel cost from 115 to 107 tenge.